Hey, how is everybody? Hola. Hi, Joanna. Good morning, Sharon's son. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me get some images up so that we already have something to look at instead of this bubble thing going back and forth, just to make things a little bit more interesting. Little bit of an invite here with regards to what we're going to be looking at today. Now, I have been practicing. I'm hoping that our flights will be smooth. I've been trying to get a handle and a grip on Google Earth so that I don't make you sick. And another thing as well, with regards to the audio, let me know straight away if you hear crackling. If needs must, push comes to shove, I am going to remove the microphone I have, and then hopefully the computer will be sufficient with regards to audio, because I'm not going to do this crackling thing until I haven't figured out what is going on. Roby, hello, bienvenido a España, welcome. It's good to have you here. I'm going to try and keep as still as possible. Same procedure. I'm going to be looking at the chat, and hopefully we're going to be okay tonight. Now, just as a quick explanation, I've had some feedback, which I appreciate, because I'm kind of flying blind here. I know that's scary, seeing as we're going to be going up in the air and all around. But the mic has just come out of the box, and I started streaming 3 weeks ago. So if this is the dud of all the high, let's say, reviews that this mic has gotten, then that would be the story of my life. I've got the dud, which would be a pity. I'm also watching the time. I have a lag with you guys of 10 seconds tonight. So if there's dead air, it's me waiting for you when I ask a question. Okay? It's good to see the Aussies. Hey, I hope you're having a great weekend, Sharon. I really hope things are getting there. Getting cold for Florida. I've seen it happening. I looked at the weather because I was hoping you were still getting some drizzle, Michael. I've been, yeah, I saw it coming. Meanwhile, it is kind of cold here as well, but I've had my hot chocolate. Anyway, what we're going to do today is we're heading to the province of Cádiz, which is probably about, depending on where I want to go in Cádiz, it's about 3 to 6 hours of a nice drive. And the main image that we're looking at is the Parque Alcornocales. Now, Alcornocales refers to cork, but there's an oak cork tree, which is sort of a, yes, with vanilla schnapps. Maybe afterwards I'll put some cinnamon schnapps in it. But the main vegetation here with Alcornocales, one is the cork bark, the traditional cork, and in this park, natural park, there is an oak cork, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if the English translation is correct, and that is what this park is named after. I made a mistake yesterday. I said it was a national park, whatever. It is a natural park, so it's not something that is official to the government of Spain. Anyway, so this is pretty much the landscape of it. I also found out today while I was looking it up, I couldn't figure out why this beautiful environment wouldn't have any orchids, and I found that there indeed are orchids in this landscape, and we're going to give credit to the photographers here. The images that I have here today is from the Junta de Andalucia. Everything about the Junta is about conservation, national parks, etc. And when we were talking about the paradors and the hotels, etc., they are also run by the Junta de Andalucia. So I got this off their webpage. The links to these web pages will be in the description. One is translated into English, so you can opt for that tab, and another one won't be, but the photographer has the most beautiful images of orchids that he's found in this area together with a guide, and we'll be looking at that. But you can see it's pretty rough terrain the higher you go. Now, if I ever say a word, I'm going to try not to say that, but the cantos or contos, Those are gorges. I may slip up, it's just the way my verbiage is, but that would mainly be the gorges, which you can see here. It's not really a valley per se, because it's like, it's not deep enough. So it's like an in-between of, yeah, a riverbed and valley, but in a very, let's say, gentle sloping, even though it doesn't look like it. So when I talk about gorges, it might not be the same where you come from, what you consider a gorge, but for us here, this would be like a conto, depending on how you want to, you know, what region you are in. They would call this a gorge. I would say a riverbed. As we go in more to the middle, it is a gorge. Now, the majority of what happens here is the Iberian pig is grown here, the very prized Serrano ham. If you want the bellota, that's the most expensive. They only roam free. They are free range, but you can see lots and lots of, get back to that picture, you can see lots and lots of little like white buildings. Now, some of them might be commercial stopovers, layovers, but if you see a building like that, usually it is a farm. So a lot of land is privately owned within this natural park. And most of these people have either got a specific kind of cow that grazes. It's kind of destructive as well, which is, people are trying to find the balance between the traditional cows that used to be in Andalucia, which is this breed, but they are very destructive. And of course, people want pasture land, so they're kind of carving into this natural park. There's a bit of controversy going on there, but mainly here is the bellota ham. It's super expensive, and the bellota pigs, the Ibericos, they eat the acorns of this oak cork, so to speak, the Alcornocales, So that's pretty much when you see things like this. Somewhere in here, there is a little finca, and then there's pasture, and probably the entire mountain belongs to that property. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I didn't mute in time. Now, very, very predominant in this area as well is what we call the Pueblos Blancos, the authentic Spanish villages that are dotted around the foothills. Usually, they find themselves a big cliff in the middle of a plateau, and that's where a monastery or something was built, and around the monastery was then the little white buildings started to get developed. So we have Pueblos Blancos, very typical. There's also a tourist route called La Ruta de Pueblos Blancos, the route of the white villages, and it's sort of a gastronomic thing that you can go and you get your tapas and all things from the region. Very delicious, very pretty, and very well maintained, because it's become it's become a synonym, anyway, that with Andalucia. So these are all around. The next thing is here you can see that the oak cork is also harvested, and the harvesting happens every 9 years for this specific bark to actually be harvestable. And well, we know how quickly these things, there has to be a balance. Now, this is a huge industry for this area. It is massive because for some reason cork is still very important, not so much with the wine anymore, but it is a huge industry. So people are really trying to keep it sustainable. This is clearly a working park, but also a natural conservation. And yeah, it takes 9 years for this specific bark to recover, to be harvested again. And to my understanding, the traditional cork does not need that long. Now, when I saw this image earlier today, hang on a second, I've got the chat. Looks like the cork oaks where I collect my mounts. Exactly, that's probably exactly right. And I'm ashamed again to have to admit that, you know, this is not that far away from me. I don't even have to drive there to get this kind of bark. And yet here I am faffing around with inorganic mounts, but I have my reasons, and well, one of them is also weight. But I'll get to that. Maybe in 2023, I'll start on something else. If I can find this cork bark that is well aged, I can bake it. I've figured out how I can bake my own bark. We'll go through all that, should that happen in 2023. But this picture brought me to the point of, you've got to be kidding me. There are orchids in here. There have to be orchids in here because the whole climate of this area is very, very cloud foresty. So we're up like in sort of highlands, and it can be extremely damp, super high humidity, even though during the summer, it's also pretty warm. But there you can see that breed of cow that is very typical for, if we want to call it an ancient cow breed for Andalusia, that's the one right there. So this picture inspired me, and this one had me convinced, and I got the Google out for real. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to change my title. There is no way. And we're going to have a look at the orchids that are here. And spoiler alert for all of you that have been here with the other lives, they are pretty much similar, but they are gorgeously photographed. And I thought it'd be nice to have a look at them. But this is a typical scene. Let's say this is definitely October, November. January, February, usually it's more on the icy side. There's not much snow. This is not high altitude, but it's definitely, it can get down to frosty, very, very frosty there. Now, this is a highly edited picture. I'm not a big fan of these kind of pictures, but when you've got the tourist board trying to promote a region, well, then this is what you get. But this is also very typical. The whole area is very full of natural streams, waterfalls, rivers, pools of lakes, not just like this, but the pools of the lakes, which have then, the streams have then been blocked off to create the dams. We'll have a look at that when we get into Google Earth. So it's all super duper, let's say, pristine, clean environment. This is one of my favorite shrubs. I don't know if a rhododendron can be called a shrub or a bush. I wouldn't know, but this is a wild one. In Germany, I had a huge, like an estate garden, and I filled it with rhododendrons. I thought they were absolutely beautiful, beautiful. So when I saw this image, I thought, yeah, I'm going to include that because I'm a rhododendron collector with the right size estate. Now here we have our first little orchid from the area. I'm going to probably switch to a web page after we've seen these two examples so that we can see proper, beautiful photography. And if I don't get my letters mixed up, it is thank you to Alberto Plata that we can see the I'm getting my letters mixed up, Epipactis lusitanica. That is this little guy. And well, we pretty much have seen something similar on our trip to Ronda and up and around Granada Way. Doesn't surprise me that we have these repeats. And here's another lusitanica. So these guys are pretty nondescript. We'll go into another web page. Thank you, Michael. Upper East. Okay, that's interesting to see. I love rhododendron, not just their foliage when they're out of bloom, as they come into bloom, the colors. Oh, I had all the kinds of colors in my garden. It was gorgeous. These are some cave drawings. Yes, there was early habitats, and what cracked me up and why I included this picture here was not just because of the erosion of the water, but if you can see what I see right here, there is a giraffe. So once upon a time, giraffes roamed the Iberian Peninsula. I didn't know that. And then throughout the park, there are some ruins. I haven't found this location on Google Earth, but I have found this location on Google Earth. I used to drive by it quite a lot. It doesn't look like this from the road, so I was so surprised when I was looking around, snooping around Google Earth today, that this was actually what we call La Montera del Torero, and this is the torero's hat, the bullfighter's hat. And well, the whole region also breeds the very, very wealthy and very successful bullfighters of Spain have their fincas there mainly, and they of course have there's a lot of bullfighting breeding going on specifically. So this little shape here is called Montera del Torero. Ole. This is, you know, the little black caps. Okay, so that was the sort of a little bit of an overview to the Parque Alcornocales. Now, I'm going to take you to a web page that I thought was super beautiful, just because the photography, and you know, I could learn from this. But we have a repeat pretty much when it comes to the images. Let me make sure I get you there. We have a repeat of the images that we saw before, a little bit more closer up, some a little bit more vibrant. I still can't get the picture out of my head of the slipper orchids that we saw yesterday, but we're back to the Ophrys, the species here. He's done a fabulous job. I wonder what lens he was using, tripod, etc. These are all Ophrys in all their different names that they come with. I would say maybe bumblebee orchid or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that, oh, okay, I've got a message down here. I'm just making sure I'm not dropping any frames. Nope, I'm good. Okay. I mean, look at these colors. They are tiny, tiny blooms, of course. Nothing really stands out that much. This one's an easy one to read, the lutea. If I mess up those letters, then there's a problem. I think they're just, oh, bombiliflora. Bombiliflora, bomba is like a tank type of thing. If we're looking for a bomba, we're looking for a pump, or like our gas bottles are also bombas. But if I'm trying to interpret that into the English, it's more like the bumblebee again, or some kind of bottle fly. Isn't that just so cute? With the little ears here. Great, great images. So this is, thank you very much. This is to massive gracias, muchas gracias to Jose Maria Luna, who has a photographic studio. He went out, this is the webpage that can't be translated, but he went out with his friend Reclu, and Reclu apparently knows where to find all these goodies. Right, so with all of that, let's get rid of this window. Now I'm Xing. Okay. Sound check. Can you hear me? I have unplugged the mic now, and I'm talking through the computer. Still distorted? That makes no sense now. Okay, just one moment. Let me see something. It's worse than before. I've unplugged the mic. Okay, sorry. It's better now? Because I have unplugged the mic. I'm talking through the computer now. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off for now, because without any cables, at least I'm not running into any danger of causing any issues. If I'm speaking too low, also let me know, okay? I feel at the moment as though I'm shouting, but I may need to be shouting. If I'm talking too loud, let me know as well. Right, so buckling up them seatbelts. Awesome, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And oh, how embarrassing. All right, buckle up. We are going to go to Parque Natural Los Alcornocales. Pretty much we have a little bit of a visual. So orientation purposes, we are down here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are heading over here. And afterwards we will pick up some refreshments in Gibraltar. Sharon says, I don't think the issue is the microphone. Okay. And you're hearing the distortion again? Distorted again. Madre mía, por favor. Okay, I'm back on the mic and I have the setup open. That's why Robert, that's why I'm Xing out the windows. I've got everything shut down that I don't need. And if this is not going to, I've got every app closed that I don't need. Everything is down. I mean, I've got my stream app open. I'm running on the browser. I'm not seeing any frames dropping. Clear and good now. Oh, you guys, do you want me to continue? Because I'm only continuing if y'all are gonna be okay. Hey, Andy Land, it's good to see you. I'm okay with continuing and watching the chat. I don't know if this is something that you want to be doing right now. Okay. One vote is good by me. I'm fine with that. Okay. So I've got my gain a little bit lower. I've reduced that. Okay. Thanks, guys. I do apologize. Right. Make sure that I am on the right tab. Where's my plane? Right here. All right, buckle up. We're going for it. Make sure I see the chat in the corner. Okie dokie. Thank you for understanding. I appreciate it. Now we're going to go down. Basically what I would like to do. Hey, Shirley, lovely lady. Welcome. Bienvenido a España. It's good to see you. So pretty much, okay, I've reduced it a little bit. So pretty much what happens is from where we are at, north of here, we come down here, we make a huge, huge detour away from everything that is this area heading into Gibraltar. We don't want anything to do. We don't want anything to do here with Algeciras. And then we go up here. Sorry, that was the dog. Can't win tonight. All right, so we go up here right into this main road. It's a fantastic highway, and it takes us straight into what is one of the most beautiful areas of Cádiz. It's like the invite to whatever else we're going to experience. I know, I'm sorry. It'll stop soon, I promise. My daughter is just coming home from work. It'll stop just now. She's got it. She's got it. It's Baloo. All right, so this is our highway right into here, and we're going to keep going along that road, and there we can see the first of the dams that I was talking about yesterday. Now these are all fed from all the rivers, the crevice, and the streams that we saw earlier in the images. And then they were blocked off at a certain stage, but you can see how low they are. They have been low for a very, very long time. They have been low for a very long time. As you can see, everything is nice, grassy, and green. The water originally should have been all the way up here. So for several decades now, it's been more consumption as opposed to what we've been getting from above in order to feed this dam. My daughter was here a couple of weeks ago before the rains came, and she said it's all dry. You could walk on it. It wasn't even sludgy anymore. So it's been a pretty big problem. Now there's not just this one, but we've got a lot of little pockets and, you know, dams, reservoirs that are actually pretty empty. We saw this one right here. You can see how yellow that sediment is. All these little areas that you see that are light green, all this should be full, pretty much up to where the road is. Pretty much, you know, people have been, because it's been so long in reducing, the agriculture has moved into the areas of where the dam should be, and, you know, one day, hopefully, we can get it filled up again. Well, and then they're just going to have to, you know, deal with it, because this should all be water all the way up into here. At least that is when I came to Spain. All this was wet. But for a very long time now, that's not what we've had. Now, let me make sure that I don't lose track of where we are headed. And let me take you to that little rock that we saw, our little torero head. Let me, oh, where's that? Oh, I'm totally distracted now. Sorry about that. Sorry guys, dead air. I've lost my mojo. I've lost my mojo. It'll be back, promise. Thank you for being here. Okay, of course we hit a little bit of a bank. So this is a road that goes through the other side. It's on the opposite side of the park, the actual park. But this is what you have to be really careful of when you are driving in this area. Very small roads, except for that big highway. Everything else is tiny. But here's our little torero hat from this side. And honestly, if you blink, you miss it. Now, meanwhile, I've driven past it plenty of times, and I was never clued in that this is actually the, the torero hat. So let's go and see if we can get our image in there. We can't go in pretty much right at it, but there we go. That's the image that we saw earlier. And in relation to the park, you can see it's pretty much still lower than what was before. Because as we go up and up into the higher part of the park, which is basically on the other side of the road, make sure I get my bearings. So here's the highway, several tunnels. This is where the main attraction is with what we just saw. So when we're talking about this area, now you can see it's very underdeveloped, and that is why the Pueblo Blancos stick out so predominantly. because of the elevation changes. And everything is pretty close, as you can see. Whatever you want to find here in Spain, at least here in Andalusia, if you're, let's say, like in my area, okay, I've got the beach, but if I go 4 hours north, I can go skiing. I've got all the beautiful areas up there of Granada. If I go 4 hours west, I've got all of this right at my doorstep. And trust me, back in the day, I was constantly on the road exploring these areas, not necessarily hiking, but my main thing was the foodie kind of stuff. I always went to these Pueblo Blancos to eat, because it's just, you know, back in the day, the prices were also cheaper. The atmosphere was authentic. It still is, but of course, everything is now extremely expensive. Even if you go into, let's say, Jimena de la Frontera. In Jimena de la Frontera, that's where my nanny used to live. And this is a beautiful drive as well, because in this area, we still had a lot of poppies. And I hope I'm gonna find the pictures where I was before with the poppies. Jimena Frontera is also a Pueblo Blanco. Anything Frontera, whoa, so I take you straight into the industrial side of this town, but you can see it up there on the ridge. Anything Pueblo Blanco, Jimena, anything along the lines of Arcos de la Frontera, absolutely gorgeous. It's like the last frontier or at the border, because the municipalities meet. So the province of Andalusia and the province of Cádiz meet, and when you hear La Frontera, that always means it's one town that is right at the border of the two. So let me just see if I can take you back up. Here we are back up on the highway. This is my orientation point. There we have a monastery, but I want to make sure I stay with 3D, because that's what's so remarkable about this terrain. I'm going to stick with the highway. Alcalá de los Guazueles as well is a beautiful mountain, like a ridged up Pueblo Blanco. Let's see if we can go there without me losing my bearings, because I'm looking for the one place that if you were on the road, and I want to show it to you, if we are stick on the road, we can look up. It's a very typical Medina Sidonia right here. Let me get you down onto the road and make sure that I don't hit a hill, because Medina Sidonia is the classic structure of the way these Pueblo Blancos have evolved. Very, very big on wind farms out here, not surprising, because, yeah, unfortunately, we're still far away. Because what you see in the distance is the spire of a cathedral, which in the past was maybe a Moorish mosque. Everything is pretty much then, you know, the dome is gone, cathedral goes up, different brickwork and everything. So you see how flat it is right here. And then you see a hill, and that is pretty much where they would put up some kind of place of worship, a palace. Some ruler had his hacienda up there, and the Pueblo Blanco would then develop itself all around the edge. So we'll go to Medina. Gorgeous. I always use this as a reference if people want to find a classic example of a Pueblo Blanco, because it really is one of the ones. The other one is Arcos de la Frontera, where you're coming across a plain of poppies, and then what you see is pretty much just a field of red and a cliff face pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and that is where you have the whole Pueblo Blanco built on a cliff's edge. So let me go down to the street and make sure. And this is honestly, exactly, that's it. We'll probably take everything along with us. But this is the way that it looks in the Pueblo Blancos now. And what I appreciate about what's been happening in the past decades is that Cádiz, Andalusia, the Junta and everything have really embraced this concept of the Pueblo Blancos and made them, they are refurbishing them. they're upkeeping them because they've become a big attraction for even not just tour buses, because you can see there's no way a tour bus would fit in here, but they all have a big parking place now at the base, and then, you know, you can walk and explore the entire village. It's just fantastic. Now, getting lost in here is very easy. Well, it was in my day and age. When I look at it now with all the maps and Googles and this, that, and the other, I probably wouldn't get lost. But this can be pretty scary because pretty much to somebody who is not from the village, everything looks the same. Now in Marbella, it is much more predominant that you would see geraniums and everything hanging from the planters. But because we are in an area where it gets cold, and depending on when this picture was taken, I don't have an exact date, but it is from 2022, then of course all these flowers and everything go away, seeing as it does get blisteringly cold up here. Remember, we are at altitude, not as high up as Granada, but it has, you know, there is frost here, even in this little area. So you see, we're coming to the end. That was pure luck. Pablo Iglesias, very popular name, Iglesias. But this was pure luck, thank goodness. Things like, looks like things are working in my favor at the moment. I really don't want to take you to the dumpsters over there, but there is a mirador. Amina! Yes, Amina, I'm sorry. I do put the videos on private afterwards so that they have time to process, because the minute the live stream ends, the quality of the video drops if it's not processed. The video is back up because it has fully processed by now. So I'm really sorry about that, but it's something I have to do. Otherwise, when I shut down the live stream, everything starts to pixelate. And yeah, I mean, if I'm having issues with audio, next thing I don't really want the quality of the video to drop either. So that last live stream is up, and it takes about, depending on the length of the video, can take 3 to 6 hours to process on the YouTube side. Yeah, but they all do come back up, Sharon. They all do come back up. Maybe I should make community posts to let people know. It can take a full day, depending on when I stream and when the stream ends. So the one from tonight, for example, because we're heading into Sunday, it's possible that it's going to take a little bit longer because everybody is on the weekend doing stuff and on YouTube, so it can take a full day. But not necessarily. Usually from when the live stream ends, I'd like to say 2 hours up to 6 hours until processing finishes. And when the processing finishes, I have it set to the point I don't have to manipulate. It just goes back to public. So I'm sorry about that. I'm hoping that with the new updates that YouTube is making for 2023, that the processing time will be greatly reduced, because this is not normal either. Okay, so let me take you to I would like to take you out to the Mirador, but unfortunately we do have some dumps there. It's not going to let me. I figured that out by now. So we were here. Let me see what, yeah, we can at least go to the picture. Mirador is a lookout point. So every time there is something to look at and stop, it could be called, even buildings are called Mirador when you look out at stuff. But you can see, again, we are now up on the cliff. We're looking out over the plains, and the whole Parque Alcornocal is all along here. You know, I would love, if it wasn't so cold during the winters here, this would be my kind of place. It is peaceful. It is safe. Great neighbors, and you live off of the land. You know, if I have eggs and somebody else had milk, then, or some cheese, then we could all, you know, it's still that kind of a mindset. And I'm a big fan of that kind of a community mindset. Yeah, when you think about maybe getting a little finca in a place, but these things are now so expensive. Hang on a second. We have, yeah, like I said, we have to make an orchid community. We have to find a plot of land. Now, this is the old area where the whole village, let's say, originated from. In this case, it's a ruin, but the view is beautiful. But you can see the concept of the highest point being a fort or some kind of a fortification, place of worship, and then looking out over the land. So they had plenty of warning for people who were coming to attack them. And this is the road that we would be coming along right here. And you can see the Med in the distance back there. Oh, this just makes my heart sing when I see these images. It's such a great vibe. This would be but it just gets so cold there. Not interested in the cold. Okay, we're going to zoom out a little bit more because there's another little place that I'd like to take you, Benalup, Casas Viejas. Now, all these little places, maybe I'll take you to Arcos de la Frontera, depending on how the audio holds up. But all these little places, I'm going to take you down here because from the main road, okay, here is our main highway down here. Now, to go to the Sidonia and up into Jerez de la Frontera, which is a big town, this road continues up into that direction. But in order to get to Benalup, if you don't want to take a whole detour around, you cut through the Parque de Alcornocal, through the ridges here, past this reservoir to Benalup, which is also a very old village of, the Pueblo Blancos. However, it's more modernized now because there's a 5-star resort up here, and with them, everybody in the village thought, well, we need to up our game. So it's not as authentic as it used to be. But I want to show you at least a little bit of what the road is up and through. I always want to say Patio Alcornocal. I used to live in a place called Patio Alcornocal. So it's very windy, as we were before, somewhat exposed. Google Earth does not go up into the park itself. I tried. Later on, we can check and see if we can get some more pictures and images, and that's why I resorted to finding the images from the tourism board, because there's not that many Google Earth images in the park itself, which is a shame, but in a way, maybe not such a shame. But you got to be careful as you're driving along here, because this is all you got. There's nowhere to go. And this is, finally you can overtake, because that's one of the things with these roads, is there is no overtaking. Very rural, but I love it. Absolutely love it. So we'll just zoom out again so that we get there a little bit faster. Gives you an idea. Let me make sure I'm headed in the right direction, because like I said, when my globe goes everywhere but where I need it to, I am easily disorientated. Yes, we're still heading in the right direction. That's awesome. Let's go down here. Let's see if we can see the view of the reservoir as you come around the corner. Once you've been up and down the windy roads, this is what you come to. Look, we've got the cattle grazing on what should be water. Wow. 2022. This is a beautiful way to come out of the windy roads. If you've got a little bit of claustrophobia and you feel a little bit car sick. Yeah, exactly, Andy. Exactly. That's right. Because if you're in there in the gorges and you're just doing windy roads, you can't overtake. Sometimes you're being, the diesel fumes from any old car that's in front of you can all be a bit too much. But you come around this corner and then you just come into this view with the water. It's like you can breathe again. I remember that sometimes I couldn't sit in the back seat of some cars. It depended on the model and the make. I couldn't sit in the back seat. I remember Jeep Cherokees used to be like driving in a bathtub. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, in the rain, exactly. Yeah, you don't. Oh. Or at night. I don't like driving at night. Sorry, as I'm, edging my way forward here. I do want to make sure and see if that corner that we're about to get to still has the view, because it is just gorgeous. If not, we're going to go back up and look at it from the top. It is a beautiful drive because obviously you're heading to a 5-star resort and it just makes you feel so good, you know. It's an all-inclusive resort, so you're paying for your room, and it has 5 restaurants. If you want to go to the Michelin-starred restaurant, then you have to pay a little bit on top for that night. 5 different themed restaurants. Golf is included. If you want to have your spa treatments, of course, they're not included. Everything that's in the minibar, it's just divine. And it's built under the concept of a Pueblo Blanco. Beautiful, beautiful. And it's literally out, let's say, you know, in the middle of nowhere, as you can see. And I used to go there a lot with my pup, Thierry Henry. They used to allow dogs. When I came back to Spain, that's the first place I wanted to go, was to that hotel. I called them straight away. I wanted to go back with him and find some peace. And they said, no more dogs. And I said, well, then no more me. But this is, I mean, I'm happy the cows can eat, but yeah, this is concerning. It's just beautiful. Imagine all the water up here. Ugh. Anyway, let's go back. All right, you like driving at night? That was a long time ago for me. Now, not so much. Let's see what we can see down here. I don't think I've got a ridge here. But coming from the windy road, now it's straightening out. And this is also sunflower country. And when sometimes you come and there's either the wheat growing or there's the alternative crop, which is just fields and fields of sunflowers. Beautiful. And this view is not spoiled by the wind farms. Oh, if I could just relay the sound. Let me see if I can go up, if that hill already gives me the view. Just make sure that I don't. Give me the 3D. Stop. So you see how this is all agriculture. I know it looks brown and nasty, but these are the rolling hills of Andalusia when we get into agriculture land, out of the parks and everything. And depending on the time of year, the color of these rolling hills changes. Obviously, this was at, yeah, this is in June of 20. October of 20. That makes sense because all the crops are gone. So depending on the time of year, if the green shoots are just coming out, you have it's like a watercolor painting out here, and you see green hues shimmering, silver with green, etc. And then as they harvest, it's more yellow. And then as the clay, and if there's water coming, you see some of the red come through. It's really like an artist is painting a picture. It's just beautiful. Even the drive. So you come to this place right here. Let me make sure that I'm in the right spot. And we're going to look up, hopefully, at our little white village. Oh, thank you. After a rocky start, we had a bumpy ride. Things seem to be working in our favor now. So you see there, that is Benaloup. Gorgeous. And if we were to go around the long way, we'd have to go through the Mida Sidonia. And our hotel would be right up against the ridge back here. Now, when I checked earlier today, I saw a lot of development, which is a shame, but at least they are single villas. And I believe it is that the owner of Benaloup actually had that developed. Let's go there. And you can see this whole complex right here. You got the golf. So these were already in existence, but he's added down here. So what we're going to do is, let's see if our little man can take us up to where there's a view. You see his entire complex, no Google Earth at all. But we can go here, because as we come up from the plateau, we have this T-juncture. It's going to take us straight to, of course, a garbage thing. But when we turn around, you can see the entire trip where we came from and the mountains in the back there through all those things. The reservoir is all tucked in over here along the plains, and then you come up the road. That is the shortcut. It's just magical. On a cloudy day. That's the beauty of Google Earth. When you go touch down into Street View, you never know what you're going to find. So we're going to go to the Catalina Silva. She should be up on a hill. Let's go this way. Oh, you paid attention. Okay, it's a one-way street. I'm sorry, we'll zip around. But you can see compared to our previous village how they've sort of upped their game because, you know, now all the fancy people come to this resort. So things are, I mean, of course, this one here is a new building, but things are a little bit more streamlined here. It's not the same as when you have the authentic village that we just went to. Where is my beautiful little church? I wanted to show that to you, but I don't want to waste your time. I want to make sure I keep this moving so that nobody, I was extremely embarrassed about the start. But if I don't find my little church, I'll put up an image in the community post. Maybe they took it away. That would be terrible. Yeah, I would hate that. Let's go up here. Can we go to the Mirador? A ver. Mirador. Take us there. Oh, sorry for the headphones. Dude, I wanted to go to the Mirador. I guess we're not going to go. Somebody here, and I'm sorry, Paco Perez Vasquez, for laughing at your image. But yeah, I guess they're working on it. Oh, but isn't this gorgeous? I don't know about you. This is, I love it. Anyway, these are the backwoods of Benalú. The cement mixer. Okay, let me take you back out. And if you would like to put up your tables and chairs, put up your little, you know, table, let's fly to Gibraltar. Unless we have a beautiful image over here. I want to make sure that we don't miss out. Here's another mirador. Let's see if we've got an image worth looking at over here. So we are on a dam. There we go. Oh, wow. Is that right? See, I've never been there. These signs here, JUNTA de ANDALUCIA. So yeah, let's go to Gibraltar. Let's go and check out some monkeys. Legend has it, as long as Gibraltar has monkeys, Barbary monkeys, they're apes actually, sorry, Barbary apes. As long as Gibraltar has Barbary apes, Britain will never relinquish it back to Spain. So the legend goes. Oh, hang on a second. Squirrel. I hope it's a worthwhile squirrel. I hope you don't hate me for it. Here's Arcos de las Fronteras. And make sure I'm coming in from the correct road. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Let's give it a go. Sorry, I'm going to take you to Arcos. I want you to see that cliff. pretty impressive. Make sure I get my bearings right here. Let's go into 3D. Look at that. Right up here on the tip is a massive parador, another one of those hotels. Let me know how the sound is. But this is huge. And you come across and into it from a plane as well. And the whole village is along this little mountain. So, okay. Okay, I'm back on. Okay. All right, so what I wanted to try and do is take you up to this one lookout from the Pico Pico of Arcos de las Fronteras, because we are on a massive cliff overhang, as you can see. We can just go around once. You can see how they are spread out, literally like draping the mountain like a tablecloth. I thought Iglesias de San Pedro would take me there, so I'm having a little bit of a go with my orientation. There's a massive parador here as well. One of the state-owned. Sharon! Awesome, thank you so very much. Hand hearts, I appreciate that. Thank you. Snacks for everybody. Drinks are on Sharon. Thank you so much. But you can see here how the village is literally draped over the mountain. Incredible, isn't it? And this is all medieval stuff. I mean, this isn't recent. Thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate that. But it's not allowing me to go where I want to go. I want to go into this church right here. So no, what I'm going to do is check for the parador. There's a parador, there's vistas. As we saw with Rhonda. Me. Drinks are on me. Here we go. That parking lot had me totally whacked. I didn't think that that would be the parador. I don't remember that parking lot, but isn't that incredible? In the spring, most of the fields are full of just blazing red. It's poppy land. It's just filled with wild poppies. Oh, we've got lots of pictures here. I'm glad I came. Sorry, I'm glad we came. All right. So this is a very typical Pueblo Blanco. We're up on a ridge. We've got our river winding around. And of course, the parador, owned by the government, has prime location. Which is, it's nice because it is open to the public. It's just gorgeous. So again, we're looking at it from a different time of year. I don't have a date on this image, but the image from above was, you know, the fields were stripped. But this is John Edward Miaza Vázquez. Incredible. I couldn't look at this while I was in the US. I got too homesick. So yeah, crackle. Okay, while I crackle, we're gonna fly to Gibraltar. Buckle up. Okay, we're back. I wanted to do the round trip, but I wanted to make sure my sound is okay. I'm not, yeah, and I'm hardly moving. My eyes move more than my head do. I'm pretty stationary. Sorry about that. Y'all are so patient. I appreciate it. Okay, so here we have one of the pillars of Hercules. To the other side of the med, here is the other one that would be in Morocco. The internet connection, okay. It's possible. It wouldn't surprise me. We've had a lot of static in the air recently, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Or Bluetooth distortions coming from another device, from the other property. I have no idea. Thank you, Andy Land. Thank you so much. So here we are. Gibraltar is one of the pillars, and then here by Ceuta, which is also Spanish, but anyway, let's just say in Morocco is the second pillar of Hercules, if we want to go into ancient wonders of the world. And we are then, of course, here to the left is the Atlantic, and we come in from the top. Hola, Fernanda, she's all the way up there. This is still Spain. And then Algeciras is a huge port. Big issues with Algeciras. Always with the criminals. They love this port, being so close to Morocco, all sorts of shenanigans going on. And very recently, a lot of abandoned super yachts from the Russians that do not like, well, nobody is allowing any Russian super yachts to come into any port anymore. So they're pretty much struggling unless they go off radar and then they navigate their way into places. The crew is abandoning them, and is cycling interferes with the system, static electricity, some generator, or yeah, I have no idea, Robert. I can't. Yeah, tonight I am on Wi-Fi because I'm not trusting my umbilical cord to. I'm not trusting my umbilical cord to the other property, so the other Wi-Fi isn't on. Where I can connect by cable. I was trying to get that sorted out on yesterday, and I got no reply from my landlord. I don't want to be moaning. I really appreciate everybody that's here. So yeah, anyway, we got lots of super yachts being abandoned in Gibraltar and in Marbella and Puerto Banús because nobody wants them around. Nobody's giving them any fuel. So massive issues at the moment with our infrastructure here and the super yachts. But this picture, I don't have a date for it. Still, Gibraltar, you can see the outline right here. I just want to make, oh, please, mouse, pay attention. Just want to show you the outline of what is British territory. This is all the UK along here, everything that you see. And then the rest of it is Spain. Massive issues between Spain and the UK about Gibraltar. So going into Gibraltar, I appreciate that. I'll just keep an eye on the chat, and I hope it's holding on okay. Oh my goodness, awkward. So we have, You can go into Gibraltar, no problem. Take your passport, you're entering another country. There's also a different currency, even though they accept euros, but it is the British pound. Thank you, Sharon. It is the British pound. They will accept euros, etc. But massive banking, massive gambling, all the .com industries, pretty much stockbrokers, etc. Yes, it is. It is trippy. I have some images depending on the time and how this is going to hold up, and yours is patience. So coming in, no problem. Going out, it can take you 3 to 4 hours because Spain makes it a problem. They try to be as controversial and conflicting and confrontational as possible because they want their rock back. So this is Minecraft. They want their rock back. But yeah, when you come into Gibraltar, first of all, orientation, apes den, okay. It is known, well, the rumor has it, again, as long as there's apes on the rock, Spain will never get the rock back. So Britain has an ape nursery to make sure that the population is happy, well fed, and does everything according to what apes should do to multiply and be super, they don't want to ever leave. And unfortunately, I don't think for a long time that we are going to see Spain getting this bit of land. When Brexit happened, of course, there was also some kind of a discussion that now with Brexit, there's a lot of people working from Spain on Gibraltar and a lot of people from Gibraltar working in Spain. Big issues when it came to Brexit. I stopped listening because I was getting so confused about what the rules and regulations were. At the time, it was the closest thing to almost get Gibraltar back. But if we're saying the closest thing, it was a 30% chance as opposed to 0. So it wasn't really ever that big of an issue. This area is super dangerous. I would say get to a underground parking lot, stick with your car. I say super dangerous because a lot of the speed boats land and abandon the speed boats right here on these beaches because of nefarious activities. Yes, exactly. So the rock itself, I don't know how many miles, is hollow, full of tunnels because it was a fortress and, a naval base, etc. during the World Wars. The movie The Guns of Navarone was filmed here at the Rock of Gibraltar, one of my all-time favorite movies. And back then I didn't know what I was looking at. And when I came to Spain, I didn't even know that this was the actual rock. When I saw the movie, I was so duh. And then one day I went to the Rock of Gibraltar and I was like, hang on a second, that facade looks familiar. And I'm like, wait, what is this? Wait. And I took it, I had a double take. Because when I came up to the border, so we're still, here we are on the Spanish side. And we do a little flipperoo. When I saw this facade, the lime rock there, I thought, wait, I've seen this before. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea until I got there and I thought, hang on a second. So of course, the first thing that I did when I got back to wherever, I checked the computer. I can't say I checked Google. Google didn't exist back then. But I did have a look to make sure I was looking at what I was looking at. I felt so dumb. Anyway, now, normally I would love to take you across the runway. Here we have the international airport. So the only place we can get to is right here. Google stops. The moment we get across the runway, we just zip straight into Gibraltar. So yeah, I saw this. This must have been taken at some point during Christmas. This is typical Christmas lighting for the Spanish side. Once I saw this, I just thought, hold up. And then I can't get you that much closer. If not, we're going to end up on the other side. But I wanted to show you, if possible, maybe we can zoom into the image a little bit, because from here, yes, as well, yeah. from here, you can pretty much sort of see certain rows. I know there's a building right here, but there's certain rows of like pockmarked into the rock. Those are the gun places. So you know that there's a tunnel somewhere here. There are tours into the tunnel, but only to a certain degree. It's not open to the public entirely. The ones that are, fine, they're guided, and I'll show you some images there. But the major part of this rock is still naval base with submarines and everything in it. And of course, not accessible to the public, but oh boy, I'm a submarine nut, absolute submarine nut, and I wish I could get into those areas. But you see the pock marks up here? Those are more, let's say, where guns would be. I don't know what they're called. They're big, they're huge. It's not like a pew pew. This is serious weaponry warfare. So the whole part of the rock itself is still active when it comes to, as far as military is concerned. I believe there's a tunnel going along this ridge, but we're too far away and we've got the glare of the sun that we can't really see into the different places. So what we're going to do is zip across the runway. Typical of small children, I went here once with my daughter, and right in the middle of the runway, she needed to go to the bathroom. So she was 4. The first thing she did on UK soil. Oh, I do believe I actually took a picture as well. Yes. Anyway, so we're going to zip across. Hold on. I said across. Move it. We're moving forward. Avanti. En serio. No, you're not going to let me now? I was practicing this earlier, and I all of a sudden I ended up on the far side. I'm like, no, I didn't want to do that. Okay, it's not going to let me do that now. We're not going to continue. What they have to do on this runway is when an aircraft comes in, you have to, they go out with a flare gun or one of those huge air guns in order to shoot the seagulls off, because one of the big dangers of landing on this runway is getting seagull into your engine. And then they open the traffic up, and then you cross the road into Gibraltar. So now, when I looked at this as the cradle of history, I thought, for real, that's all you got? Brace yourself. Because I've never seen this monument because I walk into Gibraltar. I've never seen this ever as I was walking. And there's nothing that we can look at from the other side, so I can't tell you what that is, but I wanted to make sure I pointed that out, because the cradle of history, as far as I'm concerned, belongs in Africa. But maybe they're talking about the war history. So pretty much anything that you can imagine a little country has, Gibraltar has as well. Now, we have had soccer games there, concerts there, and everything, but everything when you get into Gibraltar is very, let's say, British. And we have a super yacht right here. I wonder. Oh, it's from 2017. This is not a if this is something, yeah, no, that's a cruise liner. But in 2017, everything was still hunky-dory with that part of the world. This is all reclaimed land. Gibraltar would be much smaller. Spain is having an issue with the border. They don't appreciate the fact that Gibraltar is reclaiming. They're going out and out and out further. So the original line of Gibraltar, maybe a little bit of this, I doubt it though. The original rock is right here. Pretty much you can once again follow the structures, the old roof line, and you can see what was Gibraltar originally, as opposed to them reaching into the Bay of Algeciras here, which is Spain. So we're having some issues here with the two countries. And you can see how they're sort of nosing and inching their way in further and further. Yeah, because this is also, there's a lot of military on this side. These guys are always watching each other. I'm glad we're living in modern times, because, you know, anybody that's a little bit trigger happy. Yeah. Okay, so we have one main street of Gibraltar. That's the main shopping area. Unfortunately, there is no Google Earth. We can't get into Street View. But when we come up into this road and we come here, let me see if I can take you down there, because there's a certain little tunnel system that you go through this area down here and come into this piazza. Well, I say piazza anyway. It's a square. We're in the UK now. It's a square. Not a, oh, languages. And then it takes you up Main Street here. And there's no, we can't get in here. I saw some pictures earlier. But what I want to show you, because by this time your feet are already hurting because everything's an incline. Now, like I said, you're always welcome to come in with your car, but good luck getting out. Spain will make sure that you're not going to do that for the third time or even the second time. So get my bearings. It is a very beautiful walk though. It starts to smell a little bit. I'm sorry if I have any British viewers in here, but the UK for me has a very distinct smell. And I'm not trying to be stereotyping, but I always feel I'm smelling fried chips, as they say in the UK, French fries with vinegar. That's the smell that I associate. Once we get further into Gibraltar, into the town proper, you'll see that, you know, when the whole surrounding is I don't know, I just have this vinegar with fried French fries. Here you can see more of the caves, the openings of the gun, or where the guns were. And this is reclaimed land that we're on, so you can imagine how close to actual water this used to be. It looks a little bit silly from back here now, but let me go through here and make sure that I know where I am going, because I did want to walk you. But you see how unkempt it is? Back here, everything is, I don't know, everything just looks so untidy. Still to this day. Smells like McDonald's, yeah. Just want to make sure I take you the right way, because this looks a little bit too dirty. It's not that dirty. And I don't want to diss on Gibraltar. We're not going into there. It's private. I want to take you to the square. And of course, my mind is now going tilt, because where am I? There's the roundabout. There's the stadium. There's the square. Maybe I'll just hop into the square straight away with you, and there's the main street. We're going to do that, and we'll do a little bit of a look around in there. But normally you would have to go through a tunnel, and obviously I can't do that because there's no blue line. Oh, hello. You were in the middle of a festival. There we go. Here's shops and restaurants. I guess we just came into Pete B. Thank you for this image. I don't know what was going on. Maybe there was a World Cup going on or something. I have no idea. The Queen's Jubilee. I don't see the date at all. And unfortunately, we're going to have to find ourselves another image, because, yeah, some kind of a soccer game going on. We'll find ourselves another image. Maybe we can get out of that gaggle of people and look at here, because maybe this is going to show us the little tunnel we have to come through. Every little historical part of Gibraltar has a plaque. Okay, no, we get an overview. Has a plaque that tells you what's going on, battalion this, battery that, etc., etc., etc. Beautiful glass shop in there as well, handmade glass. I'm not going to risk that high street, that plaza thing that was a bit dodgy for me, I must say. But anyway, so in this street here is where all the shops are. Now, if I can get some images, I'll just give you a feel for the place. It is extremely tight. It's only for pedestrians. And you will see that there's so many different shops that are very British. It's bizarre. It's like stepping into, and look, I mean, we've just come from Pueblo Blancos, rocking Gibraltar. Yeah, it could be. It could be, yeah. But look, I mean, it's like, why? Why? This place is heaving. This is an empty day. I'm really trying to figure out, I can't say Adrian Baker didn't give us a year of this image, so we don't know. But this place is normally heaving with people. Why is it looking like this? Why are the buildings not being, let's say, taken care of? I can't walk up there. It's a 3D thing. This is what I don't understand, because honestly, it's beautiful. If you can look past the dirt. Let's go here. We're still at the main street. Everything. You see how gorgeous this is? But how it's not maintained and why? You see, very English, everything. There was also Elizabeth Regina II. Emblems are on the post box. Nothing has changed. They haven't changed it to Charles III. But I don't understand. I mean, the beauty of Gibraltar is actually just the history. It's the sightseeing part of it, not so much. So I went down here earlier and I was extremely disappointed to see that the St. Mary Cathedral, as it's called, looks like nobody cares. It's, you know, I don't know about you, but this is where a lot of people get married. A lot of celebrities get married here simply because it's quick. It's like the Vegas Cathedral, the little chapel of Vegas. But at least this gives you a better feel now. See, the high street it's heaving. Anyway, what I want to do is take you up. So we've done the commercial part. I want to take you up the cable car. At least show you, because you're still walking, to where the cable car is. Make sure that I find it right here. And this cable car will take you up to the top. From here, you can see the supports up here, all the way to the station, the lookout point up here. We should get some pretty nice pictures. And then we'll go down and look at some of the trails. But here you can see the view from the top, and hold on to your wigs, you wig wearers. Hold on to your ponytails, your hats, everything. Just hold on, because it is windy up here. Very rarely do you get a wind-still day. Now, you can actually walk along this trail up to a certain point, and then it becomes military. So that's where you stop. I like, your legs aren't aching, I know, right? And you are right about the Singapore government. You are absolutely right. My dad used to be in Singapore a lot, and he was so impressed. Him being pedantic about his ship, when he got to Singapore, he says, yeah, this is my kind of town. I can do this. So what we're looking at right now is south out over the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, so if there wasn't a glare of the sun, we should be able to see Morocco over here. Sofa tripping. I like that. In here you have cafeteria food and all that, you know, junk food and nonsense. It's not really anything. Here's Morocco right here as well. That's the other part that would be closer to where Tangiers is. But even up here, there's no oomph, there's no pizzazz, there's nothing. I can't show this picture because there's somebody else in the picture and I don't want to expose that person. I didn't want to blur it out because part of the fun part of the picture was the face. But somebody was a little bit brave. We were standing on the stairs. I was taking a picture with the view of Algeciras behind. This is Algeciras and the port and everything. I was going to take that money shot. And somebody was, because it's everywhere along the rock, it's everywhere, don't feed the baboons. And that person decided to be super smart and thought that they could do better. Typical tourist. I told him, don't do it. And yeah, there was a baboon right next to him, staring him in the face like, I want your food, and there will be no discussion. That's a money shot. It's just a shame. I can't blur it out. That person is in there, and I'd rather not put that on the interwebs because I'm trying to stay under the radar here. So this is exactly the view that I was trying to capture. It's magnificent. So we've got Spain in the background here. And the more we go up the coastline over yonder, the more closer we get to my place. And then we came from the hills back there. The massive, very super popular, famous surfing area is around the hills over there. Huge wind farms all along this ridge right here. It's called Tarifa. That's where all the surfers, World Cups and everything are being held. And that, of course, would be the Atlantic Ocean. And if we look a little bit further through there, we should be able to wave somewhat to Florida and New York. California, not so much. But yeah, let me see if we go out of here and we find ourselves another, hello, little man, are you stuck? Okay. We find ourselves another image. Let's do 3D again and go around and have a little bit of a mosey around the top. So all these trails, all the little paths that you see, you can walk. I'm going to stop us right here. I know this looks wonky, but bear with me. I want to show you something because this is importante. Back in the day, and very, very old pictures of Gibraltar, you would see this whole cliff face here, shiny and white. It looks like nothing is on there. This used to be covered in like a cement coating kind of thing of, you know, different, well, weather wearing stuff. I mean, anyway, protected, because this is the only water supply for Gibraltar. It used to be. They were very dependent on rain before they had their own desalination plant. So this cliff face was eroded and moved out to create like a waterfall every time it rained, every bit of dew, any kind of fog that would come up, because up here we are at cloud elevation. Everything would, you know, pour down the cliff face here into different canals, as you can see down here, where it would just pour into massive reservoirs within the rock, hollowed out. I wonder if one day there won't be some kind of a collapse on this rock, because it is so hollowed out, I think more than we actually know. But they stopped this, I don't remember exactly when, whether it was the late 90s, you could start seeing them dismantling bit by bit. Everything that was so shiny and white, all of a sudden it became nasty. It was like watching Minecraft and another, you know, wall come off because of a terrorist threat. It was super dangerous, I guess, and they thought this is not the way we can sustain our water system. The terrorist threat was easy to get into their water system by using this method. So, well, it's nice to see that it is green now. So let's go back to 2D and let's go back to 3D and have another little look around. Now, this is the most exposed part of the rock right here, facing the Med. I know you wouldn't think so, but the Atlantic being right off to the left, it is blowing a hoolie here. And that is why you don't see that much activity or development in this area. Now, there is a hotel, not sure if that's it or if it's further along the coast. There is one, sorry, that's distortion from Google Earth. Nothing is happening to the rock. I was just talking about it collapsing on something. That's not going on, promise. But yeah, so there's not much going on this side because this is the most exposed part of the rock. And then here is, you know, the protected side, of course. However, now here we have the local cemetery. Of course, the entire runway is reclaimed. And all this is new as well. All of this. And they are building a huge addition. The cemetery was almost oceanside. So now they're venturing out into the Atlantic. I mean, as somebody who's very loyal to Spain, I'm finding this pretty intrusive, I must say. Spain being right over here. Parque Canino Princess Sofia, Plaza Andres Rubio, Parque Mala Bahia, bad beach, because bad things happen here. So yeah, they're really pushing their limits a little bit. But anyway, and here you can see also more outcrops. I don't like this distortion, so let's change it. And let's go around for another little spin. Yeah, this distortion doesn't work so well, Google Earth. Maybe you need to put some work into it. We'll go down to the southern point, because from the cable car here, you can walk all along the top, all the way. Make sure we don't go too far or the military will catch us. These bastions are still permissible, and that's it. Nobody is going along this place. Of course, because there's a prison with a view. Awesome. So this is the top part of the rock right here, and that is pretty much the end of public access, and everything else then becomes military. It's a beautiful walk, tedious, can be hot, take your water, but it is a beautiful walk. Who do we have? Lower caves. Okay, St. Michael's Cave. St. Michael's Cave is where the stalagmites are, and the stalagmites and the other ones, the up and down ones. So this is pretty much baboon. Well, sorry, I keep saying baboon. They're not. They're macaques, as a matter of fact. Apes. Barbary apes is what they're called. And in here you go in, and I don't know if there are any images. Thank you, Travel Guy, for this image. If there's any images of the beautiful caves with the crystals and everything. But this is a road that you can venture up if you so choose. Now we're on an image. I'm not on, we could walk up there now if you so chose. You can walk up there all the way to the cable guy. And now we're going to just check and see if somebody has an image. I'm not going to take you too far into trying to find an image, but maybe we'll get lucky now. Let's see. One of the blue dots in the middle of the forest, maybe that's an image from within the cave. It is. We'll just stick around here because it looks a little bit, yeah. I went too far, sorry. Will you take me back? No. Boo. Let me go back. Come on, please. Pretty please. I hope I start crackling so I can recover from this debacle. No kidding. Let's try another image. So while we're in the cave. Anyway, it's so beautiful. Steaming hot, very humid, dripping. You know, you get that drip down your back of your neck, you freak out. Okay, Sharon, have yourself a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for the drinks, for the refreshments. I appreciate it. Everybody else does as well, and so do the orchids. Thank you, Sharon. Bye. So I got lucky with this image here. But this is pretty much what it's like, and it is so big in there that there are concerts in this as well. There's a little auditorium where they have concerts. So you can tour this entire cave network, and it is hand hearts right back at you. Thank you. You can tour this entire place and come out pretty much through a gift shop as you do. That's what I'm saying. This place, this rock, oh my goodness, I wouldn't want to be somewhere where it starts to collapse, because there's only so much. Even, you know, limestone is not exactly the most solid of them all. But if we go to the Queen's balcony, she did used to visit Gibraltar a lot, but you know, everything here is named after the royal family anyway. You have another beautiful view, and you can see the amount of wind just by the surf right there from the Atlantic coming in. And that's us looking back into Gibraltar. 2022 image. I don't have an exact date. Still pretty recent, I must say. I'm impressed. Are we going to be able to go up? So pretty much this is also, as you can see, there is a car in front of us over there. These are official roads. I love seeing that little Google Earth car dome there. I want to be a Google Earth driver. And I asked my daughter how that's done. How can I become a Google Earth driver? And she said, well, they don't actually announce that you become a Google Earth driver. They tell you If you look into the ads and stuff like that, they say driver wanted, and that could mean anything. Doesn't mean it's Google Earth. Here we have the Barbary Apes, and everywhere there is a sign that says do not feed. And then there's some clowns that go and feed them, and they are aggressive. They will steal your purse. They won't just steal whatever it is that you have, your content, something you've got in your hand. You think you're not being watched. You can have a sandwich or a bite of your apple, and all of a sudden they're right there. And let me tell you something, they're not gentle about it either. They win, okay? They usually, by the way they come at you, it's not like they're aggressive, but they're big. It's not like they're there to fight you. They just want the food, and they don't care what's in their way. It could be your glasses, your hair. It could be the side of your face, your ear, and they snatch and rip. They don't, gently take it away. It's super fast. Before you know it, your purse is gone. No joke. So me and my fanny packs, I know people used to laugh at me, and I said, well, at least I come home with my items. So this is an official road. This is actually where cars drive, and we're going to come right underneath the first support of the telecar. Hello. It seems like the little car struggled here. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling this road. Like really feeling it. And it's super slow. It's like he really struggled here because we did have some good distance going with each push. And well, I guess I think he slowed down because of the vistas. I bet you he slowed down because of the vistas. So he's going a little faster, you see? Yeah, he's speeding up a little bit more. He was slowing down because of the vistas. I got you sussed out. Slowing down again. Are we? Yeah. Look at him. He's going at a snail's pace. More vistas? No. But you get the idea of these little roads, and you can walk them. Nobody says that you have to take the cable car. A cab is not allowed to go up here. Cabs won't take you to the top. So let's see, tourist attraction with the Barbary macaques. We have to go there. Let's see if we see any. They're not dressed, okay? That's not them. But I would like to know if we see any. Look, with the exception of a blue bum, they look like the baboons of Africa. The baboons of Africa, that's why I keep calling them baboons. I can't help it. But they, guns. Half of them anyway. But they do look like the baboons. They just don't have a blue bum. And there we can see Tangiers. So pillar of Hercules, pillar of Hercules. Well, this is not Tangiers. Let me qualify that. This is Morocco. Tangiers is somewhere over there. Take your passport if you go to Tangiers. They don't mess around. Ha! Here we go. See this? Please no feeding. Yeah. Even if you don't think you're feeding them. But I don't see any baboons. Oh, there's one. Woohoo! Let's see if we can get closer. You see him? There he is. No. No. That's why the bus is standing there. Because they can see the baboon. There he is. Can you see? Can you see? We can't leave the rock without seeing our baboon. Ah, macaque. Cool, huh? Let me know if you see him. And there's another one down there. Hold on to your purses. There's another one sat over there. He's just waiting. He's like, yeah, when you least expect it, watch me. And they have their own nursery. If I didn't mention that earlier, they have their own nursery. So there was one thing more I wanted to address, show you. I did want to go right to the front of the rock. and see if we can see the entrance to the World War tunnel. And if not, then we'll at least go and look at some pictures. Hello. Let me get my screen back. Thank you. Hey, everybody's waving and yet they're blurred out. This is also 2022, but I don't have a date. That's probably one of the first cruise ships that came back to our coast after COVID. All right. So here we have the entrance to some tunnels, and they span the entire rock. You can also walk up here if you're feeling adventurous. The distance from there to from the starting point, it's very ambitious. Oh, we are going to go up here if we can, right here, because you can see the outline of the rock right here. And if that is the entrance, there's things to be seen down in here, but I'll show you. You know what's embarrassing though? I suppose they had to do it so that you could see the proportions. It's embarrassing because they put little statues and like puppets or mannequins of in uniform, etc. There we go. Battle stations. The tunnel saved the whole community. Yes, it did. And they have a very secret place in the tunnels as well that was only recently discovered. I don't know, Robert, if you found that, if that's come across your path as well. It was a super secret place where 3 people went, and if they had to hold themselves and barricade themselves in, they went to die. But they were the last bastion to keep the outside informed of the movement of the enemy through a very, very, let's say, hidden passage that comes out over the Mediterranean side. It's incredible. I don't know where that is. I don't remember where I saw it. I think maybe it was a YouTube video. It wouldn't surprise me. That was only recently excavated, and everybody only thought of it as a rumor. And I believe they tracked the guy, the veteran, down because yes, they did need it, but thankfully it was only like a false alarm. Not really, because they did barricade themselves in, but and they survived to tell the tale. But the 3 that were chosen, they were part of a super high secret service person. One person would recruit the other 2, so it was like one person became the point, and then 2 people that he chose, they would have had to be best mates because they were queued into, let's say, the last hurrah, Operation Bloody Blah, and there was no leaking because even this area was unheard of, it was unknown up until recently, and they found it. They excavated it. I didn't even, I went down a rabbit hole, I tell you, it was incredible. Maybe I found that last year. Let me see that we make sure that we get ourselves nicely orientated. Is there another picture with our guns here? Just one more before we go once again to the other side, because I wanted to show you the cliff face, because they had a teeny tiny ledge where they could look out over the Med, and if they couldn't get out, they had a little a rock that looked like it belonged where it belonged, but it didn't belong, and they had to be super covert. It was just amazing how they did it. And you know, to think that they were not military, it had to be non-military personnel because military would have been needed in order to fight off the enemy. My God, I'm telling you, heroes. These people are heroes that do that. So here you can see also then these lookouts and everything like that. I hope, there we go. That's the one I wanted. Now, those are some guns. I don't know what else they would be called. But that's some serious kit right there. Still pointing at Spain. I'm offended. That's, you know, I think they're decommissioned, but that would offend me. From a Spanish point of view, if I'm over there, I'm like, dude, you know, can you point them down at least? Something? I don't know. I have to stay unbiased. But yeah, if we go, for example, let's just say these were all the tunnels. All this is hollowed out. Somewhere along the front, somewhere there is where all the submarine bases would be. So if we were to look at, can I maybe get in there? Or are you going to distort on me again? Ugh, that's horrible. But if we were to think that they were looking at what the enemy was doing on the Mediterranean side, then somewhere along this rugged ridge here is part of that annex that was so secret that they barricaded themselves in. And then they had a teeny tiny ledge where they could like somewhat step out of if they felt safe enough. But if not, they had to camouflage themselves and that little path with a brick, because they didn't want to be discovered from any kind of infrared source. Maybe the enemy was looking infrared wise to see where pockets of enemy are within the rock. Insane, absolutely insane. And I was so fascinated when I read that. So let me go and find those images, at least now that we've been talking about the tunnels. This is going to be really, really touristy, but you know, might as well. Why not, hey? I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with touristy things. It's probably also, I hate to say it, part of, you know, the snobbish Kenyan in me. I saw so many tourists, I would think, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But then again, you know, this is of interest, and they, in the article itself, so this is an article, I guess you could see the web page there, Culture Trip. It shall be linked in the description. All credits. No, I don't want cookies. Thank you. I'm full. Anyway, so here's obviously where they're trying to, yes, tourism is great. I just don't like the tourists. And of course, I'm a tourist when I go to places, you know. I am the tourist, but I try not to behave like one. But when I then see attractions like this, I'm like, this sort of grates me, because people died here. I mean, there's tragedy here. But I also understand what they're trying to depict is the scale of, you know, humans doing what they're doing in order to dig out the tunnels back in the day. I mean, we're going back to the 1800s with this kind of stuff, you know, so I have to be careful what I say. But, you know, this kind of stuff here, when you see, yeah, you know, it's not exactly, is he necessary? You know, the Great Siege tunnels, okay, yeah, that's great. That's all we need. We can see how they got dug out, okay. And then here we still have, this is what I find so fascinating. Now they've done some reinforcements along the edge, that's new, but this is all, you know, original floor. Of course, back in the day, there was lanterns, not that much lighting. You don't want to be discovered. And they pretty much did everything. This was part of their barracks. I can't get into that sign, but these are the guns I was talking about, with the holes in the facade of the cliff face that you could see from the runway. If only we could have gotten onto the runway and then looked up, we would have been able to see them closer. Very, very windy in here. It's amazing. You're going from a very hot tunnel, walk, and all of a sudden you feel the breeze. So I don't want to be sensationalistic, but to think that maybe these are refurbished originals. I am not that well versed in the history of, you know, the machinery, and I don't know. I'd like to believe that they are, you know, originally and refurbished. On Gibraltar, down at the rock, and part of the whole walk and around Gibraltar, there's a huge gun. I don't know what it's called, but it's also got the joke. It's got some kind of adult humor behind it. Unfortunately, poor thing. But anyway, that also happens. But that does look original, because you can see the damage, the bruise, you can see the wear and tear, and what that gun has actually gone through. You can see it. Whereas these look, you know, maybe replicas, I don't know. What on earth is a guy, for example, this? Why is there a boat with a sail right here? I mean, that belongs elsewhere, not in the flipping tunnel, but I guess they're trying to show the entire history of what the tunnels were purposed for. But yeah, this is, I mean, there's miles of them, miles. Here you can see the openings. I mean, this would have all, guns would have been at each and every window. So, and then you, what could be considered curtains. But this is all like, this is the obvious part right here. What is not so obvious is when you get really into the military part, and all that is super, super covert. Now they've got roads in here. I can't say that I believe that this is original with tarmac and everything, but now, I mean, this is not where the public go. So this is an internal picture of, you know, an insider allowing us to see this stretch of the tunnels themselves. But even with sidewalks, I mean, please, the building is cracking, people. I would be concerned. I would be concerned in that thing. Robert Forrest says, all the original was done by hand. Yeah. All the original tunnels were done by hand. Yes. Or all the original guns. But here's a great view. I know it looks a little bit, you know, dolled up and colored up. If we just, you know, go back to what we saw with Google Earth, now this was all bright and looks like, you know, kindergarten project. But it is actually the view from the guns, the tunnels. Okay. All done by hand. My goodness. Oh, I can't imagine the heat in those tunnels. Ooh, it's actually nice to warm up if you go to Gibraltar during the winter. It's nice to go in there. They're nice and cool until you reach, you know, one of those window thingies there for the guns. And here, this is one of the most important ones. A lot of people go here because they want to take this picture right here, excuse me, including myself. And it's windy here, super windy. I mean, it's just blowing in your face. And it's awesome when a plane lands. It's like you're in history, but looking into present day. Crazy, crazy stuff. There we go. I love the curtains. Very, very boho. I didn't know you could expand on these. Okay, so there's still some works going on. Can't get into the pictures, I'm sorry, but you get the idea. This is what they had. They had bricks in that storage space, or where they were going to barricade themselves. They had a pile of bricks to match so that nobody would notice that it's an opening. Yeah. Thank you, Robert, for filling in the blanks. I appreciate it. But you can see that this is full operational. I mean, we're not going down there. This is not public access. We don't have that kind of privilege. Oh, that's a cutie. My word. Oh, they've got netting up there to hold the roof up. So you can take a guided tour that will take you into other areas that are not public. They will have another section where you can go that is not just where you can walk in and look at all the displays, etc. You can do that. Those tickets are also quite well booked up in advance. I've never done them. Honestly, I always said to myself, if I ever get to venture into the tunnels, or if somebody says that they've got the vitamin B as in the influence, I want to do this for free. I'm not paying. I'm a local. I know that sounds snobbish, but no way. You know, surely somebody, I should know somebody. As far as I'm concerned, it's not like you know, that's the only way, excuse me, that is the only way that I would check out the tunnels. I'm not going to pay for something that pretty much, I wish I could just get in by knowing a local. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions about your trip today? apart from the terrible service that you've had to experience and endure during the beginning of our journey. There's always a little bit of turbulence along the way as well. I hope nobody got sick. And I do love my 3D tours, but you see Estepona is up there. The minute I hover the mouse, everything stops. But we went. Yes, oh, okay. Yeah, you've got the insider tickets. You are in actually the city of all cities. You are in the Under network, aren't you? Because that is a place that I always wanted to have tickets to. I wanted a tour of everything that goes on underneath Disney. That's what I would be interested in. But so this is our Costa del Sol right here. There's a beautiful coastal drive, lots of golf courses, and a lot of money, a rich and famous playground right here. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Or if we are done, can we do another little bit of a spin around? There we go. We have not reached the southernmost point of Europe, the southernmost point of Spain. Yeah, underground Disney. Huh. The southernmost point of Spain is up here in Tarifa. This is the surface beach. This is now the Atlantic right here. Surfing Mecca. That is our southernmost point. And from Tarifa, the boats go to Tangier. Tarifa, Tangier. And if we continue along this coastline up here, eventually we will get to Fernando Nacimiento orchids and succulents. Beautiful wine area right here. Absolutely beautiful. Barbary wine. It's the fresh young wine, white wine. If you like it crisp, if you like a little bit of a hint of citrus with a mild paling away of like a peachy palate on your palate. Very crisp, very fresh, very young, with some nice mariscos, and you're all set. So that was it for tonight, as far as I'm concerned, unless anybody has any questions and has some, can we go back to this place? Do you want to have another look at that place? Do you have any questions, etc., etc.? Does anyone have advice on repelling squirrels? Oh, I was going to say acorns, but nope, because they like their acorns. Does anybody have any advice on repelling squirrels? Anybody in chat have any advice? Or maybe later in the replay, my advice regarding squirrels? Oh. I don't have them, so I wouldn't know. I've never had to deal with them. And I don't want to say something cruel, because I do like squirrels. Yeah, I know. I would like to see that infrastructure down there. I bet it's completely different. I bet it is. I find that would be much more interesting than whatever it is that is going on above. Now, I didn't mind Disney, but to work there, I would have preferred to have worked at one of the hotels at the resorts. I wouldn't want to work in the park itself, unless it was Animal Kingdom. Yeah, I could live with Animal Kingdom because it's got all my music, it's got all my language. Everything there has Swahili. Well, much of it has Swahili. They've got the duka, which is the little tuck shop. And everybody calls each other Rafiki. And they've got all the, yeah. I could work in Animal Kingdom as a park or at the resort. I love the resort. I always stayed at Animal Kingdom, of course. Duh. Epcot greenhouses as well. Why not? Yeah. Oh, those were the days, man. Anyway, I am going to call it a night. Has Andy Land got an answer with regards to squirrels? Well, Andy Land, you're right there. Why don't you apply? Amina, you are so welcome. Second day of snow. Well, well, well. My goodness. I hope that that doesn't last long. Oh, yes. It was nice to see this as well. It was nice to reminisce and go back. A little bit of flashbacks happening as I go around these areas. Oh, well, Shirley, you're so welcome. I appreciate that you were here. Thank you very much. I would say that if you have time, maybe look at the previous live stream. We went to Granada, to the Alhambra there as well. So if you would like to have a look at that, I'm going to try and mix these up a little bit as well, not just do Africa all the time. And unless somebody wants to be a guest and show us their collection or something, just to keep the momentum going here. You are very, very welcome. And I hope you've put your name on the waiting list. All right. No advice about squirrel, Roby says, but dinner? Make dinner out of them? Oh my goodness. I don't know, Andy Land. I'm sorry. I can't help you there. I wonder if Todd's Tropicals has similar or any experience with them. Would repel all work? You're welcome, Roby. Thank you so much for being here. Do you think repel all, like they have for gophers and stuff in the States? Because that you know, because it is a rodent. It's not a rodent, but you know what I mean? Yeah, BB gun. I don't know. I don't even know if Andy Land is here anymore. Anyway, I'm going to call it. If I find a solution for squirrels, I will definitely let you know. I'll make a ninja clip out of it. Oh, I always thought they were the cutest thing ever. They're troublesome. Oh, goodness me. To chase pigeons. Oof, I don't like pigeons. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know which method you're going to try, but thank you, Andy Land. Please do. I think that repel all also has some properties that, you know, yeah, I think you might be okay with that. Anyway, love you all. Hand hearts to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And Sharon Sun, once again, thank you for your kind donations. I appreciate it so much. Stay safe, everybody, please, and also stay warm and enjoy your orchids if you are going to tend to them, if that is your time of day. They eat bird food. Well, yes, they do. I see them a lot. And problematic with some plants, and that is why Andy Land is asking. He's got someone enjoying his buds, and it's not him. It's some little cretin. Okay, everybody, bye. Please stay safe. Take care.